Hey, everybody. Welcome in the building. Happy Thursday. Okay, it's August 14th. You know, it's trending topics, people. All right, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called So Sad. So sad. Trying to fix my clothes here. I got clothes on, people. Let me just fix it. Make sure everything's good and don't have no problems, okay? It's called So Sad. Please pay my deceased siblings. Wait, please pray for me. My deceased mother siblings, one and grants are suing me. Left in trust for over 100 years. This land borders. Oh, Mimi, I'm so sorry to hear that. I definitely will pray for you. So you said my deceased mother's siblings. So it's your aunts, right? And your uncles, I'm guessing. Walden Groins Reed family are suing me August 27th to force me to sell my family share of land left in a trust for over 100 years. This land borders. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. You know, when it comes to things like that in the family, it's hard, and it's hard when you leave the land to several people. Definitely have prayers out for you that you know you and the family can resolve this in an amicable way. So yeah. It's rough when so many people own a piece of a land because if you all not in agreement, it just doesn't go well. So definitely praying for you. And thanks for being here tonight with us for Trending Topics. So let me go back here. It's Trending Topics. It's Thursday night. Thanks for being here. Y'all know the routine. If you ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit it now, okay? The title is called So Sad. So this 11-year-old, she was in the hand of guardians, okay? Wasn't with her parents. Somebody else was her caregiver, so to speak. And it was a lot of other adults involved. Well, the main guardian beat her to death. Beat her to death. And the main guardian had other adults in the home that was watching this beating go down. And none of them said anything. But guess what? You know, there's a saying called see something, say something. Well, they didn't say anything. Well, guess what? Now they all locked up. Every last one of them. To God be the glory. And may this young lady rest in peace. So sad. And then the guardian had the nerve when they first, came and got it and they didn't really know what happened. The guardian had the nerve to act as if the police was profiling her. Saying they accusing her of doing something just because she black. No, they're accusing you of doing something because you did do something. And now you're locked up. Dreadful. Sad. But we're going to talk about it. Then we got this priest secret. You know, there's some jobs, for real, if you're not ready, you shouldn't take the job. And that's a point blank in a period. You shouldn't take the job. So when you, if there's an opening to be a pastor of a church, and that's not your calling, don't do it. If you know you wrestling with some huge demons yourself, don't do it. So this Alabama priest is being accused of getting into a relationship with an underage stripper. She said she was 17 when she first met him, and he offered to pay her hush money to be his lover. And she did it for years. Now she's coming out, telling her truth and telling what happened to her because she's afraid, because she said he's around kids all the time, so I'm coming out and telling my story. So now he's being investigated. I may have to put a sweater on. I feel like this dress is going to have a malfunction. We can't have that. But yeah, they're going to investigate it. I'll never understand people who want to pay for sex anyway. But you a priest doing it? So was you using the parishioners' money to pay her off? You got people who believe, who think they're giving their tithes and their offering to a good cause, and you out here paying a stripper with their money. You need to pay it back. Yolanda, I went to Catholic school too. It's a mess. It's not right. So sad is the title, but we're going to talk about it. Then this last guy I'm going to talk about. He worked for the government out there in D.C. He got all up in the federal agent's face, calling him fascist, racist, whatever he was calling him. And let me just say this, he's still alive. Now, y'all know I don't get down like this over here, but, you know, it is what it is. Can you guess what his nationality he is? Because he's still alive. He was all up in the federal agent's face. And he's still breathing. He's still alive. Not only was he up in the face, he threw a sandwich at him, threw a Subway sandwich at them, and got to running. He's still alive and breathing. He lost his job, but he's still alive. To God be the glory. Because if he looked like Diva, he wouldn't be alive right now. They wouldn't even have tolerated me getting up in the man's face like that. But he got away with it for a second. Now listen, people, y'all know what time it is. It's time for me to bring the people on in the building. So y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Thursday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called So Sad. We got the 11-year-old beaten to death by the Guardian. We got the priest secret, and we got the Subway sandwich attack. Listen, messy. Let me bring the people on in. Hey, Julius.
Hey, y'all. Hit the like button. That's your ticket on the train and your ticket to the snack bar.
Come on now. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva. Hey, Julius.
Okay, so I got
Hey,
videos. I got videos, I think, attached to most of these stories. So let me see, because the videos always kind of hold up my bandwidth, so to speak. So you know what? We're going to go with this pastor. With the pastor, though, first I'm going to show you a past video he did on CBS or one of the stations during COVID time, just to show you who he is. And he has a brother that's a doctor. So this is just, is not going to be directly connected to the current story, but I just want you to see who he is. So remember, this is from COVID, a video of him, and then we'll get into the current situation. Let me see. Let's see if it is share. All right, let's take a listen.
And it is Faith Friday. You know we love our Faith Friday around here, and we are keeping it all in the family today. Our next two guests, brothers. One is a pastor, the other a doctor. Wonder which one's praying more these days, Robot. So Father Bob Sullivan, the pastor of a parish of over 7,000 and the president of a Catholic high school. Well, he tested positive for COVID-19. So, of course, Dr. David Sullivan, his brother of Johns Hopkins University, stepped in to help.
That's right. And they're both joining us now to give us an update on how Father Bob is doing and how he was able to beat the virus. Thank you both for being with us. And so, Father Bob, yes, I will start with you. You were diagnosed back in late September. Tell us a little bit more about how you handled everything.
Well, when I was first diagnosed, I started having wasn't feeling well, and I recently had a flu shot, and they changed my blood pressure medication. And so the doctor said, well, let's just see if that's it. But then I started running a fever. So I texted my brother and I said, what do I need to do? And he said, go get a COVID test. So I did, and I tested positive. And so I called him and said, listen, what do I need to do? And he goes, well, there's not much we can do, but we've got a clinical trial. Would you like to participate? And I said, sure. Do they do it here at UAB, where I live in Birmingham? And he said, yes. And so I enrolled in the trial on Saturday, the day I tested positive, and was in receiving convalescent plasma on Monday.
Dr. Sullivan, you know as well as anyone out there just how devastating this pandemic has been and how devastating COVID-19 can be on patients. But what is your first concern when you hear your brother has COVID?
My first concern is he's my brother. I had 4 brothers growing up. My mom said 5 under 5 before 65, 5 sons under age 5 before 1965. So he's my brother, and we knew we had antibodies work. We knew we had a way to give them a 50% chance of giving him something that really worked, and so I wanted to help him.
Yeah, and Dr. Sullivan, it's always great to have a doctor in the family. My brother's a doctor too, but a lot of people aren't in that situation. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to turn to. What advice do you have for people who either themselves have COVID-19 or they find their loved ones in that situation? What should we be doing?
Well, if your loved ones do have it and they're in the outpatient setting, there's monoclonal antibodies that are limited available. We know antibodies work. You can also go to, you can join a clinical trial, and Secretary Azar has recently called plasma the gift of life, because it has antibodies from people that have defeated the virus. And if you join a clinical trial, you have a 50% chance of getting something that works. It's a randomized clinical trial. Otherwise, you can sit at home and do nothing. You can also protect your loved ones that are who are negative. Anyone over age 18 can join the trial. It's even safe for people that are pregnant. You can go to covidplasmatrial.org or 888-506-1199 to validate this gift of life. We just need people to show how well it works so that the FDA can approve it with these flexible, creative solutions that we're all working on. I'm just privileged to stand shoulder to shoulder to be working on this, to be able to have an opportunity for my brother to participate in the trial. We can all deal with this virus. Thank you.
Father Bob, you tell me, for folks out there, they strike some balance, right? You're a man of God here, and you lean on your faith, certainly during hard times, I'm sure. You lean on your faith, but sometimes you got to call a doctor. What was it like for you during this time? And what do you say to people out there who are going through maybe what you went through? How much do you, or did you lean on faith? I don't want to say, maybe I shouldn't say versus science, but what was the balance between the two?
Well, we understand that God has given us the wonderful gift of our intellect and knowledge. And so I leaned on my faith because I know my God is a God of hope. That even in difficult times, there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. And that intellect that God has given us, I'm thankful for because of doctors like my brother who use that wonderful gift to further science and to help all of us, because we are indeed a community of people. God has given us all many gifts. And so the gift that he has given me was the opportunity to pray, to pray for those who are affected by this, to pray for those who are searching for a cure. Even though I was not able to physically be present with my community during the time of quarantine, I could pray for them and they could pray for me. And I recognized that throughout all of it, my hope and my trust is in God, and my God will continue to stand by me even through difficult times.
Well, I think prayers and science pack a powerful punch, and we certainly could all use both right about now. Father Bob, thank you for your inspiration. We're so glad you're doing better. And Dr. Sullivan, thank you for all of your research and your work. We certainly need you in our lives as well. So we appreciate your time. We know you're both busy men.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans.
So he didn't know how to pray and lean on God when he was lonely and wanted a sexual partner. Now let's get an update on the priest, pastor. Hold on one second. So Alabama priest accused of having a sexual relationship with a teen stripper, paying her thousands in hush money. A Catholic priest is under investigation for allegedly starting a years-long relationship with a 17-year-old stripper and paying her hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep quiet about it. Robert Sullivan, 61, is on leave as the pastor of Our Lady of Sorrows Church in Homewood, Alabama, after he was publicly accused of initiating a relationship with Heather Jones, now 33, when she was a vulnerable teenager in 2009. Jones says in a letter to the Archdiocese of Birmingham and shared with The Guardian that she first met Sullivan while she was dancing at a strip club he frequented. Now, I have to say this too, though. Why was she 17 in the strip club? That strip club is problematic too. That's her. While tipping her, he offered her $273,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for an ongoing relationship that would include financial support in exchange for private companionship, Jones alleged, telling The Guardian that the agreement included sex. Jones, who was raised in foster care due to her mother's severe neglect, said she was hesitant but ultimately agreed due to his persistence in the state of mind I was in, according to her letter to the Archdiocese. Days later, she received 2 wire transfers of $136,500, each under the name of an attorney office, she alleged. Sullivan, initially posing as a doctor, took her out to shop, eat, drink, and stay at hotels in at least 6 different Alabama cities over the course of the relationship, which lasted until this year, she alleged. The priest brought her phone and even paid for her to go to rehab while she suffered from addiction and depression, the accuser claimed. Between just July 18, 2024 and March this year, a Venmo account under Jones' name had paid Jones almost $120,000. She said she told The Guardian. Jones says she felt compelled to go to the public with the allegations because Sullivan worked so closely with families and their children at his church. Others may be vulnerable to the same type of manipulation and exploitation, she told the paper. Sullivan has been a priest for more than 32 years and was formerly president of John Carroll High School for 6 years, according to AI.com. He announced on August 2nd that he was taking a personal leave as a pastor. Bishop Stephen, Rasha, head of the Catholic Diocese of Birmingham, addressed the allegations in a letter to the Archdiocese this week, noting there is not enough evidence for a criminal investigation into Sullivan's conduct. While the Alabama Department of Human Resources determined that the allegations did not match the requirements for opening an investigation, the diocese investigation was initiated. Again, according to church law and our diocesan policies and guidelines, Rasha wrote. I guess that was done in different times. Our diocesan victim assistant coordinator has continued to be in contact with the woman who brought forth the allegations and has provided appropriate support. The allegations are being reported to the Vatican, the bishop said. Julius, your thoughts?
Okay, so one thing I'm going to say about this, Pope Leo the 14th, he ain't playing. He's younger, more steadfast, and he's going to be quick. This is not the first time that this has happened with these priests seeking companionship. I remember reading the article years ago. There was a priest. Now get this, y'all. There was a priest who, let's say, had relations with 2 women on the church altar. Yeah, you heard that right. So this is not surprising to me. Honestly, even though I was raised Catholic, the Catholic needs to forego the celibacy rule because these men are going to find other ways to get their needs met. As long as they are not breaking any legal laws, they should be able to have romantic partners. So then that way those needs can be met. It's not going to disavow their vow to serve the Lord in the way that I see it. But in this case with this priest, he is a predator. And, you know, she's not up on the panel tonight, but I'm going to invoke the great Miss Felicia. All children should be loved, valued, and protected And why was CPS not alerted to this child? Because she was a child at the time when she was in that strip club. Why was she not offered services like therapy or something? There's lots of missing pieces here, and I just have the feeling that more is going to come out.
Thank you, Julius. Katrina, your thoughts?
She said she was 17 and she met him in the strip club.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got that. So he was giving you money. We got that.
Mm-hmm.
So did the money stop? Is the reason why you want to come out and talk about it now? This man gave you hundreds and thousands of dollars. You didn't say not one thing. You ain't went told nobody. You ain't did a darn thing about it. And yeah, you 17, but how far away was you from 18? And I don't even remember having no strip clubs in Alabama. But either way, she said they met at the strip club. So both of them was doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And yes, she was a child, but she's 17. She knew exactly what she was doing. She got money from this priest, and maybe he stopped giving her money, and that's why she came out and told. She said she came out and told because he worked around a lot of families. Wasn't he working around a lot of families when he was giving you the hundred thousands of dollars? It just both of them is in the wrong. Yeah, I know people gonna say in the chat that she's a child or whatsoever, but she knew exactly what she was doing, and he knew exactly what he was doing. I thought all priests supposed to be celibate and not with women, so they both made a mistake. They both did things they ain't had no business doing. So I don't give grace to neither one of them. Both of them need to be caught up because she knew exactly what she was doing, and so did he. But that's all I got, and don't come for me in the chat, y'all. But that's all I got.
No, you know what? I'm hearing you, Katrina, especially because she was in the relationship up until just recently. And then I guess she got convicted. I don't know. Like you said, did the money stop, Savannah? Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The money must have stopped because, baby, you was getting thousands of dollars and you ain't worried about no other children. You ain't worried about nobody else. You worry about yourself. I'm thinking that he stopped paying her and she got mad. Maybe he wanted somebody younger than her at the strip club. Maybe she got mad about that. Maybe he was messing with somebody else in the strip club. Who knows? But you waited all this time. Now you come out saying that he's around a lot of families. Girl, please. That's all I got.
Yeah. Savannah, your thoughts?
Savannah, your thoughts?
As a Catholic myself, the story of priests being predators and preying on vulnerable children. It's not anything new to any Catholic. Most Catholics are aware of what the priests are doing and how they and that's why I'm not a practicing Catholic, because I don't agree with many of the teachings of the church, especially, this when the priests are accused or even found guilty of misconduct that is unbecoming of a priest. They are just transitioned to another parish. So he's just going to be going into another community and continuing to prey on vulnerable young adults. I agree with Katrina. I didn't feel any empathy for this young lady. She had a hard life, foster care, and was at a strip club at the age of 17, but she saw a way out to change her situation by taking hundreds and thousands of dollars from someone that she knew should have been helping her instead of preying on her. And the conditions were to also share her her body. So I don't, and she also had substance abuse problems. So although he sent her to rehab and paid for it, probably with the parishioners' money too. Because all that there's two things that you don't mess with in the United States. That's the Catholic Church and the NFL. Like you found out a few weeks ago, Diva. They shut stuff down. They shut stuff down quickly. They own Sundays. So I'm I'm not surprised by this. I'm going to be honest. I was distracted by the story, Diva, because the two, I was wondering what happened with Amy and TJ, the two lovers of ABC there, and I haven't seen them in a while, and to see them back on in a news story. It just, I think they have a podcast, but I was distracted by Amy and TJ, wondering if they were involved at the time of this story, because this Catholic, the priest, predator story, it's a tale as old as time. It's not going to change. It's up to, but this young lady had nobody fighting for her, in the Catholic Church. Although Pope Francis did make it where predators now had to register. There is a registry within the Catholic Church that priests that have been accused and found guilty of misconduct, they go on a list. However, that doesn't mean that they don't stop practicing. They are transferred to another parish. So, and it's usually around where they have access to children, whether it's in community centers or schools, that, it doesn't stop them from being around children. Parents have to, unfortunately, be more vigilant, because the wolf comes in sheep's clothing.
Facts. Thanks, Savannah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into the next.
Oh, another thing, Diva, I know you're going to the next story, but the age of consent is 16 years old in Alabama.
16?
16, yes. So basically, she was over the age of consent. That's probably why they didn't bring. That's probably why he wasn't arrested or anything like that. Because the age of consent is 16 years old.
Yeah, she. It's a lot going. You know what? Too, and so now we could come back years later or decades later and say someone did something to me. Like I don't know. At some point before 33, she should have realized, okay, this was wrong. But I think I'm leaning towards you, Katrina. The money stopped. He was running out of money to give her. That's a lot of money to be giving somebody. And you a priest. I mean, are you making $1 million a year? Like, where's all this money coming from? It had to be the parishioners' money. But of course,
in the South, most definitely the Catholic Church gets more money in the South because it is very religious laced.
Yeah, but I don't think that the priest is making $1 million that he could just easily give up 100 and something thousand to this young lady. What I think is that they don't want it to go any further because they don't want the people to know that he probably was tapping into the funds. But let me go ahead and roll into the next story. And I'm going to do this 11-year-old, which is so sad and so tragic. So hold on one second.
Arrest warrants News 13 obtained reveal one woman is accused of beating an 11-year-old girl inside their Carolina Forest home while several children and adults watched. Thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Edward Moody.
And I'm Trish Williford. Kamisha McGaskey is accused of killing a Kyrie Bell and hurting other minors. She faces murder and other charges, including human trafficking.
News 13's Adriana Lawrence spent all evening digging into the warrants and tells us what new details she's learned.
These arrest warrants we obtained reveal a horrific reality. Authorities claim 5 children lived for at least 6 months, and the charges 5 adults now face.
I feel like they seen the color of our skin and immediately we did something to the little girl. And it was disgusting.
You just heard from Kamisha McGaskey, who police charged with murder in a Kyrie Bell's death, along with multiple felonies, including trafficking minors. The coroner said Bell died on June 13th from blunt force trauma and labeled her case a homicide. Police initially charged McGaskey, Bell's guardian and a distant cousin, with obstruction of justice. When she spoke to us after Kyrie's death in June, she denied any claims of hurting her kids and accused police of racial profiling.
I sent her upstairs to take a bath with her sister. Like 20 minutes later, her sister called and said she passed out. I went up there to provide aid for her. And as soon as I found out that she was unconscious, I dialed 911 and I called the police.
Warren State between January 1st and June 11th, she also beat a 15-year-old boy on multiple occasions, and that she used her hands, feet, various objects, and personal weapons. Warren State, her 12-year-old child, along with a 3-year-old and 14-year-old, were inside of the home during the beatings. The warrants reveal 4 other adults face unlawful conduct towards a child charges and claim they were present for the beatings but did not stop them at any point. It adds there an action put at Kyrie at an ongoing and unreasonable harm and contributed to the circumstances surrounding her death. Horry County Police Chief Chris Lenhart spoke on the case back in June.
This innocent child suffered traumatic injuries, very, very difficult for our team and the folks that were involved. And we just want to, again, let the community know we're doing our best to investigate the case, make these charges swiftly to provide justice to her.
Now, we've reached out to Belle's family for comment, but have not yet heard back. Chief Lenhart encourages anyone who's a witness to child abuse to report it. In the newsroom, Adriana Lawrence, News 13.
So sad. Hold on one second. Let me give a little bit more information. So, guardian arrested for child's death. Adults and children stood and watched as the murder girl was beaten by cousin charged with killing her. An 11-year-old girl was beaten to death inside a South Carolina home while adults and children watched on, according to newly released arrest warrants. Akari Bell tragically died on June 11 from severe head injuries after being transported from a home in Myrtle Beach to a nearby hospital. Bell's distant cousin and guardian, Kamisha McGaskey, 31, was initially arrested and charged with obstruction of justice, but she was soon hit with a murder charge. On June 17th, the Horry County Coroner's Office said Bell died of blunt force trauma and classified her death as a homicide. Around the time of Bell's death, police found that she wasn't the only child allegedly enduring beatings and living in that home. Bell's 7 siblings resided in the home, including a 15-year-old boy who endured beatings between January 1 to June 11, according to warrants obtained by News 13. McGaskey's 2-year-old child, a 3-year-old, and a 14-year-old were also in the home when the beatings took place, the documents connected to Tuesday's raid on the home said. Meanwhile, 4 other adults, Lakeisha Burnett, 34, Atlantis Thomas, 21, Darnell Damas, 20, and Margaret Robinson, 56, were taken into custody and charged with unlawful conduct toward a child or allegedly being present when Bell was fatally beaten and failing to report to authorities. That's the young lady that who is no longer here. May she rest in peace. Burnett, Thomas, Damas, and Robinson failed to take reasonable steps to intervene, prevent further injury, or report the abuse to the appropriate authorities, the woman stated. Additionally, their willful inaction placed the child at an ongoing and unreasonable risk of harm and contributed to the circumstances that led to the homicide. Previous arrest warrants said Burnett, Thomas, and Robinson obstructed justice because they prevented, impeded, or interfered a law enforcement investigation by providing no false statements and attempting to obscure and destroy evidence related to the death of a juvenile victim. Robinson and McGaskey were also hit with human trafficking charges, according to arrest records obtained by the Daily Mail. McGaskey used her hands, feet, and weapons to beat Bell and other children, the documents show. A 6th suspect who has not been identified is expected to face the same charges. At the time of her arrest, McGaskey told News 13 she was being racially profiled. I feel like they see the color of our skin, and immediately we did something to the little girl, and it was disgusting, she said. That's her mugshot. Bell's cousin said the little girl also had a history of fainting spells. I sent her upstairs to take a bath with her sister. Like 20 minutes later, her sister called and said she passed out, McGaskey recalled. I went up there to provide aid for her, and as soon as I found out that she was unconscious, I dialed 911. I called the police. Video posted by the Horry County Police Department showed a slew of authorities pull up to the home in big vehicles as they issued the warrant and arrested the adults. Carol Hustle, a neighbor who lives near the home, witnessed a dramatic moment. She recalled an interaction with one of the women, and Hustle said she didn't want to engage with others, and that was before you knew who she was. You knew for a week. We didn't know that it was the people, she added. As other ones that got arrested in that home. Belle was originally from Bay City, Texas, according to her obituary. She loved to dance and play sports and was known by her loved ones as Nai or Star. It's unclear why Belle was in McGaskey's custody. McGaskey, Thomas, Burnett, Damas, and Robinson all remain in custody, according to records. McGaskey is being represented by an unnamed public defender, according to court records. No bail has been set for her. How horrible is this story? Julius, your thoughts?
My heart breaks for the family of the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
You are supposed to be a caretaker. And I am assuming that your child has some special needs, if I'm correct.
No, they didn't say anything about that.
Okay, probably just a temporary situation. It's maddening to me because, you know, the authorities just don't go around, oh, yeah, we're charging you with, you know, 1M, you know, I'm watching my words wisely. Today, they have to investigate. There has to be evidence. They have to have probable cause. They have to go to the courts. They have to do all of this. There is a reason why this lady was charged with because they have evidence. And this little baby is no longer here because of her. Everybody does that who's guilty. And I noticed we didn't do it. All of a sudden we see the evidence. Dang, they did it. That's what she's doing. And other people just stood by and watched. They all deserve to be put under the jail.
Thank you, Julia. Savannah, your thoughts?
You know, Diva, the one thing that I am so shaken by lately is how many monsters are out there. And when they're in our own family or in our own circles, what is going on with society where children are not protected, loved, nurtured? We don't see how their future ahead of them, what the possibilities of what they can be. And I'm just, and she has the nerve to do a press conference with a stone face with, absolutely no regard. This is a monster, all of them. And it took that. I'm just sitting here. I was like, this is that poor baby, what she had to endure. And so many people that failed her, from the schools to the system. Like, that is such a broken system. That is where I think this government needs to pour resources into. I don't agree with absolutely not one thing that 47 says, but if he says we're going to rip apart this system and start over, I would support it, because our children are being left behind. They are being discarded. They are being, they're not being loved and protected. And my heart breaks. This story is about monsters. And I can't believe that. And I apologize. Where was her mother?
I don't know
her
what
father?
happened to the mother and the father as to why, because it seems like her siblings was living with a distant cousin too.
Yeah.
This is just a sad story. You know, sometimes you think, and I don't know, like we would need more details on the mother, like how bad it was. Was the mother on
Right.
drugs or whatever? But you know, sometimes people think, oh, my kid would be better off with somebody else. I don't care, as long as it's not like you're not abusing drugs or something like that. I don't care how poor you are, your kids are better off with you.
With you. Sometimes the devil you know is better than the one you don't. And
Yeah.
it is, and that, and the system takes these children out of the environment, however toxic it may be. As long as there's no DV, no substances, or no essaying going on, I think that the system should be working with these parents and helping them with whatever vices and demons they have to get, to provide their babies, their children, a safer environment, because obviously what's out there is nothing but monsters, and they have the nerve to be in front of the cameras like with no emotion whatsoever. They're scary. They're absolutely scary. And I wonder, do they have children? I know there's some of them in that group had to have children.
The one that took the life of the little girl had her 2 children in the house too. That house seemed jam-packed. Jam-packed because it was those other adults that was in the house, and then it was all of these kids. But then you got the sick adults that was watching the kids get beat. It's just sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. Katrina, your thoughts?
It just go to show you can have a beautiful house on the outside, but can have horror on the inside. I'm wondering, was they trying to end that girl in that house? With these people, didn't they say she was into sex trafficking too? I was wondering, were they in there trying to end her in that house, or grape her in that house? It's a lot of layers there, and for them to sit around and not do anything, well, all of them high. Y'all sat around and see this lady beat this child. I'm thinking that one of the men probably did it because they probably was trying to em her or something like that. It's just crazy that they sat around and did nothing. And she's accused already of sex trafficking too. So they probably was in there trying to grape that girl. And for them, she kicked over her feet and all that type of stuff. And so how is your kids being treated? If you're doing this to somebody else, child, this is this is what I'm talking about. The children not being protected. Like that 17-year-old, she knew what she was doing. But this is a child right here, and look what happened to her. She was not protected at all. You was with this family thinking you was gonna be protected, but I'm still leaning towards. I think they was trying to em her or grape her in that house, and one of them probably was beating her. This is a sick situation, and I hope all of them go down. I really do, because you don't mess with God's children. You don't do that. But that's all I got.
Oh, all right. We're going to go ahead and roll into this last story. With this guy, I say he lucky to be alive. But I know why he alive, because he don't look like me. But let me go ahead and share screen so we can get into this story. I think this is the screen I want to share. Let's see, is it?
So days after President Trump announced that he would be taking control of the D.C. Police Department, the district has officially started clearing homeless encampments across the city.
Hold on one second, guys. I think it kicked out of my story. Okay, wait. Maybe.
The D.C. Police Department. The district has officially started clearing homeless encampments across the city. Trump says the effort is about making the city safe and beautiful again, and suggested the homeless could be relocated outside the Capitol. It comes as the man accused of throwing a Subway sandwich at a federal officer is now facing felony charges. Attorney General Pam Bondi posting that the suspect worked at the Department of Justice and has now been fired and is, quote, an example of the deep state. Let's get right to our Perry Russum. Ever a dull moment? What more are we learning about this sandwich thrower?
Alleged sandwich thrower, Kiera. So his name is Sean Charles Dunn. Apparently he worked at the Department of Justice before being fired in the past couple of days. An official telling us that he was an international affairs specialist in the Criminal Division's Office of International Affairs. And according to charging documents, after police say he threw the sandwich, then ran away, and then chased down by federal investigators, apparently at MPD, he admitted to throwing the sandwich, saying, quote, I did it. I threw the sandwich. He has not yet entered a plea, but Attorney General Pam Bondi posting online saying, quote, "If you touch any law enforcement officer, we will come after you. You will not work in this administration while disrespecting our government and law enforcement." Kira.
All right, let's talk about D.C. now and cleaning up the homeless encampments. Where are...
That is not the one I wanted to show. I'll go back to it to find the exact one I wanted to show. But in the meantime, let me just get into this. DC sandwich slinger ID as a DOJ employee fired from his position after hurling a sub at a federal agent. So Washington, his career is toast. A DC dimwit who slung a Subway sandwich at a federal agent on the streets of the Capitol earlier this week has been identified as a now former Justice Department worker. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced Thursday that Sean Charles Dunn, 37, who is facing felony assault charge for the sandwich strike, has been fired from his DOJ role. Okay, we might be at this.
Like a fucking way! You bitch!
He's in their face.
Motherfucker! Oh! 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 It's fucking done! Fucking done! Fucking done! He cooked him! He cooked him!
Slammed that sandwich in their face and then he ran. If you touch any law enforcement officer, we will come after you, Bondi declared. I just learned that this defendant worked at the Department of Justice no longer. Not only is he fired, he has been charged with a felony. This is an example of the deep state we have been up against for 7 months. As we work to refocus DOJ, she added, you will not work in this administration while disrespecting our government and law enforcement. Dunn worked as an international affairs specialist in the Justice Department Criminal Division, which handled cases of fugitives abroad and helps foreign countries on extradition matters with their own fugitives, according to the DOJ. Dunn appeared to have been similar to a paralegal, assisting attorneys in handling a large volume of cases, including the litigation of those matters, according to the DOJ's job listing for the position. He does not appear to be an attorney, as his name isn't listed in the DC Bar's website. An attorney for the suspect did not immediately respond to requests for comment, and attempts to contact Dunn directly was unsuccessful. Dunn was allegedly caught on camera berating a group of federal officers as fascists before lobbying his deli sandwich and hitting a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent in the chest. F you effing fascists. Why are you here? I don't want you in my city, Dunn allegedly fumed within inches of an officer's face, per a criminal complaint. According to the complaint, Dunn successfully attempted to flee on foot, telling a local cop while he was being processed, I did it. I threw a sandwich. Footage of the incident went viral against the backup of President Trump's deployment of hundreds of federal law enforcement personnel to assist DC police in cracking down on crime. Dunn faced 1 count of assaulting, resisting, or impeding a federal officer and faces up to 1 year in prison if convicted. The police are not out there to get pushed around or beat up, DC U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro declared in announcing the case against Dunn. He thought it was funny. Well, he doesn't think it's funny today because we charged him with a felony assault on a police officer. So there, stick your Subway sandwich somewhere else. On Monday, Trump federalized the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for 30 days and activated the National Guard to patrol the district streets. Since then, hundreds of federal officials have arrested more than 100 suspects, with 23 collared on Monday, 43 nabbed on Tuesday, and 45 apprehended on Wednesday, according to the data on the Trump administration. Trump's crackdown came from former Department of Government Efficiency, DOJ, employee Edward Korstein, aka Big Balls, was beaten up while intervening to prevent a carjacking last week. Woo, child. He got away with that, and nobody else would have. Julius, your thoughts?
Now, you know Let's just be clear for a second. If that was me or any one of my fellow brothers, we would have been taken to the ground or worse. Let's just be real. I don't agree with I try to not pay attention to the antics that this clown is doing. I want to be clear. I think the takeover is just for political reasons. That's just me. Because when I went to DC in May, we had no trouble. Even strangers we encountered were very nice. People on the subway were welcoming or tolerant because they could tell I was from out of town. Been no trouble, no nothing. So other than that, yeah, I think it's for political reasons and that's it.
Thank you, Savannah. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna push back a little bit here on what my partner Julia says. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention of what's going on, where our government money is being spent. And this isn't political, this is personal. There is a failure not only from federal, but also from the city. I've always said that the mayor, she's weak. I don't, these homeless camps, they have multiplied and grown. I've lived here for almost 15 years in the Northern Virginia. Well, I live in Southern Virginia, but I work in DC government spaces. And there are some areas that we can't walk and it is unsafe. There's areas that we're not authorized to go into. And there's areas that I wouldn't go in there if they had paid me to go in, not because it's not safe, but it's dirty, there's rats everywhere, and it's not a clean environment. So I can support the cleaning up of DC, but what they're doing to these people who have nowhere to go, who have no resources, because if it isn't the city shutting down their resources, the federal is also shutting down its resources. This coward throwing a Subway sandwich, and we all got an email last week. Anyone that's associated with government, whether you're a Govy employee or a contractor, you were told to stay away from DC. Any failure to do so, you would be charged with felony and you would lose clearance and your position and all these threats. I didn't read the full email. So this person is a government employee and with the nerve to even work for the Department of Justice, right under Pam Bondi, who is Trump's attack dog. She did what Jeff Sessions refused to do. And she continues to do it. So he found himself with felony charges today and also without a job clearance and all the other. So this is going to get worse. It isn't going to get any better. It's going to get worse. This is about taking the poor people away from him. He don't want to see them outside his window. He don't want them around his buildings. This is personal. This has nothing to do with politics. And he's extending this power. It was only granted for 30 days, but it's going to be for even longer. So pay attention. Don't turn your blind eye. Pay attention to what's going on and who is his target. He doesn't need a why. He doesn't need a why. It's because he said so. So I would implore you to Julius, keep paying attention to what they're doing here. And nothing's going to change until the people like the artists and to people start canceling concerts and shows and start hurting businesses, unfortunately, in DC, and where they start feeling a financial crunch because of what he's doing and his policies. So until then, there's not going to be any change. I actually had an event there scheduled in 2 weeks. We just canceled it this morning, and we're scrambling looking for another venue. But we're not going into DC. I wouldn't spend my money in DC at the present time. So it's unfortunate, but we need to pay attention.
We do need to pay attention. So let me this is the one I wanted to show. And then I'll come to you, Katrina.
Heightened tensions over the federal presence in D.C. One man is now accused of assaulting a federal officer by hitting him with a hoagie.
Yeah, the suspect now facing a felony charge. Our Shamari Stone is in Northwest tonight with that story.
Tonight, Sean Dunn accused of attacking a federal officer with a foot-long Subway sandwich, similar to this one right here at 14th and U this past weekend. And it's all caught on camera.
You see these fascists right here? Fascists? You!
Take a look at this cell phone video from late Sunday night. 37-year-old Sean Dunn, shown in the pink shirt and shorts, allegedly yelling at federal officers on 14th Street in D.C.
Y'all laughing, but that's the truth now.
Moments later, video appearing to show him crossing the street, screaming just inches from a U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer's face.
Let's go get him, bro.
And then appearing to hit the officer in the chest with a foot-long Subway sandwich. Officers immediately chasing Dunn in the street and eventually catch and arrest him. These federal officers are assisting D.C. police after President Trump placed MPD under federal control. In an X post, D.C. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro announcing the arrest.
And then he took a Subway sandwich about this big and took it and threw it at the officer. He thought it was funny. Well, he doesn't think it's funny today because we charged him with a felony, assault on a police officer, and we're going to back the police to the hilt.
According to the criminal complaint, Dunn allegedly told police, "I did it. I threw a sandwich." People reacting to the arrest.
It's disrespectful for the police officers.
And you don't like that?
No, I don't like that at all.
I'm disgusted with the
Why?
situation because he's an officer. He didn't get hurt. There is no reason to get a felony because so what? He's wearing a uniform. He's supposed to be a hero protector. If he got a Subway thrown at him, oh well, like he should just, say don't do that or just get an apology.
Now, I tried talking to Sean Dunn tonight off camera and he didn't want to talk. We're still waiting to see if he'll get back to us. I'm Shamari Stone. Back to you.
Katrina,
he's not allowed to talk. He's not. Sorry, Diva. He's not allowed to talk. And it's funny how he gets charged with a felony for attacking a police officer. Yet the ones that attacked the Capitol Police on January 6th, they were just exercising their rights. So pay attention.
Pay attention. Pay attention. And not that girl talking about he should just look for apology. It was just a sandwich. He's lucky to be alive. Because I promise you, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't even have been allowed to yell in the police face like that. Katrina, your thoughts? Katrina, are you there? All right, we might have lost Katrina. But listen, guys, sad. The 11-year-old, just tragic. I just can't imagine, like, when you're young, you're supposed to be living your life, your best life. From birth to 18, you should just be living off the land, just living your best life. And tragic. Go to live with a distant cousin only to get beat. And there was other kids in the home getting beat, and I believe it was her siblings. So now her life gone, and why? We got the priest secret. And that's a mixed bag for me. He was dead wrong because I know he wasn't using his own funds for this. But, something is amiss with her. She stayed up until the age of like 33 and now she wants to tell us her story. And the subway man, he lucky he looked the way he looked, because if he didn't, we would be hearing a whole nother story today. I promise you that man wouldn't have been alive. But listen, people.
I'm sorry, Diva. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that story. You're right. We probably wouldn't be alive. And this is what I tell people. Now he's called the National Guard in to police the police officer in Washington D.C. But you couldn't call the National Guard in when the Capitol was getting invaded, messed up, damaged, and everything. You said that it was Nancy Pelosi's job, but now you calling in the National Guard when you could have called in the National Guard when that riot was going on. You didn't want to call the National Guard when the riot was going on because you had that stage so that could happen so they can get those votes. This man is ridiculous. And some of these workers would have got hit worse than a sandwich, just a sandwich. But as you say, Diva, he got the skin for the protection because it wouldn't have been. We've been on the ground. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Listen, guys, y'all know the routine. Okay, if you ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. Wayne, you late in the building. Did you want to say anything?
I was just going to say that, just like you said, if that had been somebody else. But that's what they want. They're trying to incite blacks to go out there and do these things, and they'll have a region called martial law. They start with D.C., but they're going to the rest of them. They're going to the rest of them. This is, when blacks weren't out there, when, they were doing the King's March and all that stuff, blacks didn't go out there with them. Okay? But I think the administration is upset with that, is that the blacks didn't come out because they would have incited blacks to have some kind of uprising or something and call it riots and have a reason to go out and start unaliving. That's what I believe. That the white guy, like you said, he could have never even got that close to the police officer. He was in his face. And they did nothing. If it was someone of our color or of color, they would have immediately done that. It would have triggered. It could have triggered other people and a riot start. And that's just what they want. Because all the protests so far have been peaceful. No violence at all, really. But this is what they want to do. DC is, they said, like a 30-year low or whatever on violent crimes, the murder rate, all that is down, and it's been down for some time. So this is just an example of what he wants to do. He wants to control everything. So blacks in DC, watch out, because they don't want them in there. They don't want them in there. I'm done.
Thank you. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. Y'all know the routine. Y'all ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo choo.